The Lincoln Highway Association presents the Deep Dive podcast.
Today's episode is entitled Signposts and Young Aviators and is based on the forum article by David L. Wilson. This episode is brought to you by the Indiana chapter of the Lincoln Highway Association on the web at indianalincolnhighway.org. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This time, we're hitting the road. You've sent us a whole stack of articles from the Lincoln Highway Association's forum.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, and it's really cool because we're talking about, America's first Transcontinental Highway, the Lincoln Highway.
Right, a real pioneer.
Exactly. And what we're going to do is go through these articles, pull out the most interesting parts, the history, the personal stories, and what this highway means to people today. It's a deep dive, really.
And what's particularly interesting about this set of articles is the variety of viewpoints it presents. It's not just a dry historical account.
I know, right? It's like we're seeing the Lincoln Highway through so many lenses: personal adventure, societal change over a whole century.
The lifeblood of a small town in Nevada.
And of course, the passionate community that keeps its legacy alive today.
Exactly. So much to explore. Let's hit the road, shall we?
Okay, let's start with what really grabs me, which is the enduring appeal of Lincoln Highway. It's not just, a historical relic. It still inspires people.
Absolutely.
Take this article by Gene Rabel, Lincoln Highway Adventure. This guy went on a mission, a multi-year quest, to find all the original and reproduction concrete markers from 1928 to 1930.
Wow. Now that's dedication.
I know, right?
What sparked this obsession, or should we call it a passion project?
Oh, it was totally fueled by nostalgia, childhood road trips along the highway. Those memories stuck with him.
And led him to, crisscross the entire country?
Multiple times.
Yeah, from 2017 to 2021. That's serious commitment.
Think about the planning involved.
Logistics.
The sheer mileage.
And there were a lot of these markers.
How many are we talking?
Well, Jay Lawrence, the forum editor, says there were originally 427 of these concrete posts. Can you imagine trying to find all of them?
It's like a treasure hunt across America.
And Gene found them in all sorts of places, The Clinton County Courthouse in Iowa, the Old Jail Museum in Warsaw, Indiana, up at the Henry J. and Abraham Lincoln Memorial at Sherman Summit, Wyoming. He even found the Western Terminus marker.
Wow, coast to coast. I know. And what I find really fascinating is that he used all these different resources to track them down, like the Lincoln Highway Forum, Brian Butko's book and map, David Swanson's map. It really shows the power of community, in preserving this history.
Absolutely. A collective effort to document and celebrate this iconic route.
And his dedication was recognized, too. At the 2018 LHA annual meeting, he was acknowledged for having traveled the entire length of the Lincoln Highway. Pretty amazing.
Truly remarkable. And speaking of anniversaries, something big is coming up, right?
Yeah, 2028 marks the centennial of the 1928 route and those concrete posts.
A major milestone.
And the Lincoln Highway Association is already planning special tours to mark the occasion. The Eastern Third in 2022, the Central Section in 2025.
A chance for people to experience this history firsthand.
Exactly.
Now, shifting gears a bit, it's also fascinating how the Lincoln Highway served as a, let's say, unexpected guidepost for early aviators.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that.
David L. Wilson, in his article, The Lincoln Highway, a timeless companion to adventurous young aviators, talks about how the highway was this crucial landmark, visible from the air.
It's crazy to think about flying in those early days. No GPS, no fancy instruments.
Exactly. Pilots relied on landmarks.
And apparently, if they could spot a railroad, they knew it would probably lead them to a town.
Makes sense. And Wilson mentions that in Iowa, the Lincoln Highway often ran right next to the Union Pacific tracks. Double the guidance.
Talk about a safety net, right? And he actually shares this really cool story. He was a student pilot, and he had to make an unexpected landing in Loudon, Iowa.
Oh, wow. What happened?
Well, he found himself at the Loudon Cafe and Hotel, which back then were essential stops for travelers on the Lincoln Highway.
Think about it. Back in the golden age of car travel, these places weren't just roadside stops. They were vital hubs, places to rest, refuel, connect with other travelers.
Like little oases along the highway. And what's really cool is that Wilson revisited Loudon in 2021. He felt this incredible sense of gratitude for the highway's history, for the community that's kept it alive.
It's a powerful connection, right? To a shared past, to a place that holds meaning. A reminder that the Lincoln Highway is more than just asphalt and concrete.
Definitely. Okay, so we've seen how the highway inspired individuals, how it connected people, and well, now let's look at its broader impact, how it impacted the country as a whole.
Right. How has America changed since the days of the Lincoln Highway?
That's exactly what John W. Jackson tackles in his article, How Some Things Have Changed. He compares the Lincoln Highway's place in America a century ago to its place today. And he uses some interesting indicators, like population shifts and even Major League Baseball.
Oh, that's an interesting angle. Tell me more about the population aspect.
Okay, so in 1920, 44% of the total U.S. population lived in the 13 states that the Lincoln Highway passed through. That's almost half the country.
A significant portion. But as the article points out, things have shifted dramatically.
Big time. And Jackson points out that states like New York, which only had like a mile of the highway, and California, which has grown like crazy, can skew the numbers a bit.
Right. So how do we get a more accurate picture?
He focuses on the 11 Lincoln Highway states between California and New York, excluding those two outliers. Their share of the national population went from 31% in 1920 down to just 20% in 2020. That's a huge drop.
So the Lincoln Highway, which once ran through the most densely populated part of the country, has become less central in terms of demographics.
Exactly. And get this, California's population increase alone was bigger than the combined growth of all the other 12 Lincoln Highway states put together. That's wild.
There's some eye-opening statistics.
Yeah.
And what about the Major League Baseball connection?
Well, Jackson says that back in the Lincoln Highway's early days, from 1913 to 1927, over 60% of Major League games were played in cities either on the highway or very close to it.
Wow. You could practically follow the Lincoln Highway and catch a game in every major city.
Pretty much. 6 out of the 10 cities with teams and 10 of the 16 total franchises were Lincoln Highway connected. And they dominated the World Series during those years, too, winning 8 times and always being in the final.
So the Lincoln Highway was really at the heart of American culture, even in leisure.
Right. And think about it. Fans would actually drive the Lincoln Highway to get to games in all these different cities. Now, the only stadium left from that era is Wrigley Field in Chicago.
It's a testament to how much both transportation and entertainment have evolved since those early days. Okay, so we've talked about the Lincoln Highway's national impact. Now let's zoom in on a specific place, shall we?
Yeah, let's go to Nevada.
Specifically Austin, Nevada.
Right. There's an article here, The Lincoln Highway in Austin, Nevada, by Warren R. White and Elizabeth Rassica. And it's fascinating because it tells the story of this town, its deep connection to transcontinental travel, all viewed through the history of this amazing place called the Leland House.
The Leland House, what's so special about it?
Well, it started as a boarding house back in the 1860s, right in the middle of this boom town. Austin's story actually starts before the Lincoln Highway. It goes back to Captain Simpson's 1859 expedition.
Oh, right. The one where he was tasked with establishing a military road.
Exactly. And his route actually went through the area that would become Austin. He even named the Reese River Valley.
So, in a way, that expedition laid the groundwork for what was to come.
Absolutely. But what really put Austin on the map was the discovery of silver in 1862.
Silver rush.
Yeah. William Talcott found it in Pony Canyon, led to the Reese River Mining District, and boom, Austin was born in 1863.
The mining boom came the need for infrastructure, right? Roads, transportation, places to stay.
Exactly. And the article talks about how resourceful those early settlers were. This guy, David Buell, had this ingenious idea. He offered people plots of land in Austin in exchange for labor to build a road into Pony Canyon.
Clever. A win-win situation.
I know, right? And Austin quickly became this bustling, diverse community, all kinds of people, all sorts of professions drawn by the silver rush.
And that's where the Leland House comes in.
Yeah. It started as Maggie Eames' boarding house on Main Street. In 1883, it became the Leland House under Cynthia Leland. Think about it. Right in the heart of this rapidly growing town.
A front row seat to history.
Absolutely. And then there's this guy, Alan Curtis, who was instrumental in connecting Austin to the broader transportation network.
How so?
Well, he spearheaded the Nevada Central Railroad and the local Austin City Railroad. They even called it the Mules Relief, which I think is kind of funny.
Mules Relief. That's fantastic. I guess the railroad offered a welcome alternative to mule-powered transportation.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And this is really cool. The Austin City Railroad actually ran right in front of the Leland House, and the location of its depot ended up influencing the future path of the Lincoln Highway.
Wow. You can really trace the evolution of transcontinental travel right there in front of that building.
I know, right? And speaking of transcontinental travel, We can't forget the Transcontinental Military Convoy of 1919.
That was a pivotal moment in the history of the Lincoln Highway, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a massive undertaking. And, Lieutenant Colonel Eisenhower, who was part of it, famously described the road conditions in Nevada as like one succession of dust, ruts, pits, and holes.
Not exactly a smooth ride.
No kidding. But even though it was rough going, the people of Austin gave the convoy a really warm welcome. Pies, cakes, lemonade, the whole works.
That's heartwarming. It speaks to that spirit of community and hospitality that we've seen throughout the Lincoln Highway story.
Definitely. And across from the Leland House, there's the Lander County Courthouse, built in 1871. It holds all these amazing historical records, including newspapers from back in the day. Talk about a treasure trove.
It's like stepping back in time.
Totally. And in 2009, they had a 90th anniversary reenactment of the motor convoy, and it stopped in Austin. It's so cool how they keep that history alive.
It's a reminder that the Lincoln Highway isn't just a thing of the past. Its legacy is still very much present in these communities.
And get this. They found a souvenir from the 1927 Nevada Transcontinental Highway Exposition at the Leland House. It was a big celebration marking the opening of the Lincoln Highway across Nevada and California.
That's an amazing find, a tangible piece of history connecting the past and present. And what about the current owners of the Leland House?
Oh, Warren and Elizabeth. They're amazing. They're dedicated to restoring and preserving this place. They're not just, running a hotel. They're safeguarding a piece of American history.
It's inspiring to see that level of commitment. And speaking of dedication, let's move on to the Lincoln Highway Association News and Activities section. It's a great snapshot of the community that's actively keeping the Lincoln Highway's legacy alive.
Yeah, it's really cool to see what they're up to. There's this heartwarming story by Scott Little about two Army buddies, Elvet Folks and Roger Geis, who were reunited after, 65 years at a Western Ohio chapter meeting.
That's incredible, after all that time.
Yeah, I know, right? They served together in Korea and Japan, lived relatively close to each other for years, but it was the Lincoln Highway Association that brought them back together.
It's amazing how shared interests can create these unexpected connections, bridging decades.
And then there's this great roundup of news and events by Russell S. Rain called They're Talking About the Lincoln Highway. There's a lot going on, like Dibstad's Country Store in Buckstown, Pennsylvania, which is this historic landmark on the Lincoln Highway, was featured in the Washington Examiner.
Keeping the Lincoln Highway in the public eye.
Exactly. And Caledonia State Park, which is off Route 30, the Lincoln Highway, was highlighted in Gorey. They talked about the blacksmith shop and the history of the Caledonia Furnace, which was owned by Thaddeus Stevens. It just shows how many layers of history there are along this route.
It's more than just a road. It's a tapestry of stories and events.
Oh, and there's this great story about Good Roads Day in Batavia, Illinois, back in 1914. It marked the start of concrete highway construction in the state.
Wow, the early days of modern road building.
And they had these volunteers who got paid a penny each for their work. And get this, the paycheck was signed by the Illinois governor.
That's a cool detail. It really shows how this massive project was also very much a grassroots effort.
Totally. And then there's this news about the Mint Motel in Rock Springs, Wyoming. They got a grant to improve their facade because of its history with the Lincoln Highway.
So communities are recognizing the value of preserving these historical landmarks.
Yeah, it's really encouraging to see. And there's even a story about the Balliates coffee shop sign, which was originally on the Lincoln Highway in Van Wert, Ohio. It's now inside the Central Insurance Company. It's like a piece of roadside Americana that's been saved.
And speaking of preservation, Folsom, California, has done a really great job with signage for the Lincoln Highway. Clear, consistent markers that make it easy to follow the route.
Which is so important for people who want to experience it today.
Yeah.
And in Ely, Nevada, they've got this incredible new mural depicting the 1919 military convoy. It's like a 3-panel masterpiece.
Wow, a visual tribute to the highway's legacy. Sadly, there's also news about the passing of Gino Oliver, a life member of the LHA and a big contributor to the Nevada chapter.
Yeah, it's a reminder of the individuals who work so hard to preserve this history. Their passion is really inspiring.
Absolutely. And beyond those specific stories, there are also all these fascinating little nuggets scattered throughout this section, like pictures of old service stations that have popped up online, the Superior Gas and Oil Co. in Salt Lake City, Frenchman's Station, Tahoe Meadows Garage. It's like a glimpse into the past.
It really is. And there's a story in the Ames Tribune about a Model A enthusiast who's doing this slow-paced tour of the Lincoln Highway. It's just cool to see how people are still engaging with it in all these different ways.
Exactly. It's not just a museum piece. There's also a photo from 1915 showing workers building a concrete section of the highway near South Bend, Indiana, and an account of the Centennial Model T Club and the Mustang Car Club of Omaha driving on a preserved brick section of the highway in Elkhorn, Nebraska. It's amazing how these tangible remnants of the past can connect us to history in such a visceral way.
And even publications like FreightWaves.com, which focuses on transportation and logistics, have featured stories about the 1919 convoy and the Helen, Nevada stretch of the highway. It shows that the Lincoln Highway is still relevant even in discussions about modern transportation.
Its influence is far-reaching.
Absolutely. And we've got updated Indiana Lincoln Highway turn-by-turn guides created by Jeff Blair, which are super helpful for anyone wanting to explore the route. And someone found a real photo postcard of a Lincoln statue in Fremont, Nebraska. It's a Lincoln Highway monument. It's just another example of how they've commemorated this iconic road.
So much to explore. And on the community front, the chapter news section highlights the fantastic work being done by the Lincoln Highway Association's state chapters across the country. It's truly a nationwide effort.
I know. There's Jerry Peppers, the New York director, working tirelessly to get an informational plaque at the eastern terminus. And the Pennsylvania chapter had a big presence at the Wilkinsburg Lincoln statue dedication. The Ohio chapter had the successful Lincoln Highway byway yard sales. The California chapter has signed sections of the highway in Folsom, and they've got a new chapter historian, Trey Pitzenberger. And the Nevada chapter, while mourning the loss of Gino Oliver, is celebrating the new mural in Ely.
It's truly inspiring to see this level of activity and enthusiasm. And the membership drive they had at the end of 2021 offering discounts for multi-year renewals shows that they're actively building and strengthening their community. Plus, they're always looking for submissions to the Lincoln Highway Forum. They want to hear from people, share their stories, their research, their perspectives.
It really is a vibrant community. And what we've learned from these articles is that the Lincoln Highway is way more than just an old road.
It's a living, breathing testament to American ingenuity, perseverance, and the spirit of adventure.
It's a thread that connects communities across the country, past and present.
And it's a reminder that even in our fast-paced, ever-changing world, there's still so much to be discovered and appreciated about our shared history.
Absolutely. So think about this. If a road can have this much impact, what other seemingly forgotten parts of our past might be hiding similarly fascinating stories?
Perhaps a local bridge, a forgotten train station, or even an old hiking trail. There are countless threads of history woven into the fabric of our communities.
And who knows, maybe your next adventure is just around the corner, waiting to be discovered.
All you have to do is look.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep exploring.
For more information about today's Lincoln Highway, our annual LHA conference, member tours, route maps, and chapter activities, go to our website at lincolnhighwayassociation.org.